What is up, everybody? Luke Film Boss here, and today I will be reviewing The Marvels. So here's the thing with The Marvels. It is definitely some of the lower tier MCU work that I've seen. But I actually enjoyed the film. Now, I wouldn't say that it's a good film, I'd say it's just below good. In fact, on a quality level, I'd say it actually is on par with the first Captain Marvel, which I didn't think was very good. The only thing that holds this new installment up higher is that it's more enjoyable. And I think that's one of the things that gives it a slight edge, even in quality, is just likability is a factor when you have to, you know, take into consideration the story. And the first Captain Marvel, there was good elements there, and I think visually and narratively, the first Captain Marvel was better. But when it comes to the characters, it was not quite as good as the Marvels, and the Marvels even falters with the characters quite a bit. The thing that is good about the Marvels compared to the original Captain Marvel is there is some good character work there behind, everything else that's going on. It just doesn't have enough time to actually, fully develop the ideas that it has. And because of that, I think some of the ideas kind of just aren't even there that should have been there. And I'll explain a little bit more, but overall, this is the shortest MCU movie that we've had like ever. I think every other MCU movie was over 2 hours long. This movie is below an hour and 50 minutes long. Like, it's a short MCU movie. And it definitely needed to be long. Like, this runtime goes by really quick. It's a very fast-paced movie. It's energetic and fun. It's colorful. And I don't know why they cut it off so short. Now, I know there was reshoots, and I'm sure that they cut out a good bit of the original, cut of this film. And I don't know if that original cut would have been worse or if the changes they made actually did make the movie better. Because I don't know. Because if this movie had been anything like the first Captain Marvel, it would have been kind of sluggish. It would have been irritating. The characters would not have been likable. And those are some of the things that this movie actually does right. It's not sluggish. It's fast paced. It's energetic. It's poppy. It's got likable characters. Even Carol Danvers, I liked the way they handled her character. She still has some of that same personality that we saw from the original Captain Marvel film. And when I say personality, I mean the negative qualities. But the negative qualities aren't overly in your face. And then there's actual good qualities that kind of seem a little bit forced here, but kind of feel natural, especially being that it's been like 20 years. We get some insight to like what she was doing over, like, I don't even know, it might have been longer I can't remember the exact timeline, but Captain Marvel's been doing this at a long time since her original, solo film, and she's definitely changed as a person. So there's a lot of implications to that, and I do like Brie Larson's portrayal of Captain Marvel in this movie. It's not great. There are some scenes that kind of felt like a reshoot, like the acting just wasn't quite where it should have been. But overall, Carol Danvers is actually kind of likable in this movie, and I like that. Monica Rambeau, she's better than she has been in WandaVision and all that. And Kamala Khan she was great in Miss Marvel, the show. Just those last 3 episodes were just so badly written and so boring and kind of lost focus of what the show kind of had going for it. This movie kind of gets Kamala back into her element, and it's so much fun. She is definitely, at least my favorite part of this, movie. And quite frankly, out of the new installments of, Phase 4 and Phase 5, I think Kamala Khan is the only up-and-coming superhero that I think, I really think that she's the best thing that these new phases have to offer. Sure, Kate Bishop, she's all right. I like her. Shang-Chi kind of just got forgot about. The Eternals weren't that great. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, she's definitely my favorite inclusion to the MCU so far. Hopefully we get a lot more better stuff because Cassie Lang and all that, it's just not the stuff. But Kamala Khan is just fantastic. She's just such a ball of energy, so sweet, she's innocent, but yet this movie kind of takes her from her, origins in Miss Marvel and just makes her, have to grow up a little bit. Like, she's still Kamala by the end of the movie, but she does see some things, and that does make her realize the heaviness of being a hero. I wish they would have done a little bit more. I think having three main characters was a problem, especially with such a short runtime. Like, if the movie was 2.5 hours long, maybe having three main characters that work and like bounce off of each other and have intersecting struggles would have worked. But in an hour and 47-minute movie, it doesn't really work. There's not enough time for any of them. And so I think ideas and just character flaws and character struggles and all sorts of things that could have been there just weren't there. For example, when Kamala meets Captain Marvel, it's like starts out like Captain Marvel wasn't all who she thought she would be. Like, Kamala kind of is excited to meet her, but she's realizing Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, isn't exactly who she thought she was. And Carol Danvers is actually a very troubled person. She makes a lot of mistakes. And I do like, I'll get into more Carol Danvers, but with Kamala Khan, it's kind of meeting her hero. And I think they should have gone the path of realizing that sometimes our heroes, are different in person. When we actually meet our heroes, they are different than we imagine them in our mind. And that doesn't really get touched on. Like, there's this one scene of reconciliation where Captain Marvel is just like, I'm sorry for the way I talked to you when we first met. Let's start things over. And then she's just, they're cool the rest of the time. And then there's like a few things like here and there, like one scene, Captain Marvel is like telling Kamala, I don't want you to be like me. It's like, good stuff is there, but there's not actually enough connective tissue. It's just kind of falls into like the stereotype and tropes because these characters aren't given the time they need to develop to make some of these lines that could be impactful. They're just not. And then you have Captain Marvel, which she has a decent arc because she's been at this thing for a while, but she's actually not as good at it as you would think she is for being in this business for like 20 years. She's very rash. She jumps into things. She kind of gets too big in her own mind because of how much power she has. She just makes choices based on what she thinks in the moment is going to be the best thing. And that ends up both, we realize that that's had big consequences negatively in the past that she has to reconcile. And even in this movie, she makes rash decisions that end up leading to bad things. And basically, Captain Marvel admits it and opens up about the fact that she feels like everything she, basically she just makes things worse. And that's good. And she has a full arc in this. I do like that. But I feel like they should have tied in the other characters more to that. And once again, they should have developed that for Carol Danvers a little bit more. There's just not enough time here. And then Monica and Carol have to, come to terms with the fact that Carol left and never came back. And Monica has to forgive Carol. And we get that. But once again, there's not enough time to make it actually feel as emotionally satisfying because in one scene, they're like, kind of struggling. And then the next scene, they're reconciling. And then the next scene is just the finale where it's action and then it's just over. And so, yeah, this movie just is problematic. There's so many good things. Action-wise, I think the action is very creative. The opening sequence, the opening action scene, it's not technically the opening, but it's during that first act. That's one of the most creative action scenes I've seen in a Marvel movie for a while. It's very well choreographed and just clever and fun. It has to do with the switching and all that. It's a blast. It's such a fun scene, and it's fun, but you kind of feel the urgency of the situation. And there's other scenes, both action and just sequences that are just a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil it, but there's like 3 key scenes that just make this movie worth watching because they're just so creative. And some people might think they're a little bit weird, and when you watch the movie, you'll know. For me, I thought it was fun and clever. This movie is a very much so a Marvel chick flick, and I think that's one of its strengths. Once again, I wish that they would have done more with it from the characters, end of things. But it does work. There is just a lot of fun here. It's not a preachy film. There's like good, heartwarming, messages for people, individuals, rather than a big political message. And I'm just so happy about that. This movie is not political. There is political aspects, but the whole point of the movie, the message behind it isn't a political message. I wouldn't even say that this movie has any feminist messages in it, but it is definitely targeted more towards women and girls, and I think that's a good thing. I think guys can enjoy it as well, but it is a Marvel chick flick. It's comedic. It's definitely more of a girly movie, but yet it has action, and the drama isn't as prevalent. It's not super dark. Like, this is a very lighthearted film, and that's all good stuff. Once again, I just wish there would have been more time to make it a little bit more tight as a script, and emotionally with the characters, that they would have more time to be fleshed out. But overall, it's a solid little fun film. Like, I wouldn't blame anybody for liking it. I liked it, but I also can't argue that there is a lot of problems here. It's definitely a rushed film. Like, once again, too little time, too many things going on. A lot of good things here. Visually, some scenes look great. Visually, others just look bad. Too much CGI overload, all that Marvel problem stuff. But once again, it's not too bad to the point of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or Thor Love and Thunder bad, or even, it's not even as bad as Black Widow, and in my opinion, it's about on par with the first Captain Marvel, but it's more likable. Like, there's a little bit more technical flaws with the script and with the visuals, but just due to the fact that the characters are a little bit more likable, the story overall has a little bit, I don't know, the messaging is a little better. I would say it's about on par with the first Captain Marvel quality-wise, and it's just so much more enjoyable. It's such a fun film. So while there are very apparent problems with it, it's still enjoyable. So I give the Marvels a 64% in quality, a 70% in enjoyment, for an overall score of 67%. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help you be on the lookout for more videos from Luke Film Boss. Bye.